When you look out at a really calm ocean, it mostly just looks like this flat, peaceful expanse of blue.
Right.
But underneath, there are, these massive currents and crushing pressures and entire ecosystems basically just fighting for survival in the pitch black.
Yeah, the surface is really just well, it's a polite fiction we all kind of agree on.
Exactly.
The actual mechanics of how that ocean works are always hidden way down in the depths. And you only truly understand the system when you dive into that pressure.
Which brings us to the really fascinating stack of sources we are exploring for you today in this deep dive.
Yes.
We are looking at personal logs, mission reports, and medical records from the crew of a starship, the USS Arawyn.
It's a great batch of logs.
It really is. We're following a crew dealing with the wonderfully mundane things like cat allergies and surveying totally boring beige planets right alongside the extraordinary, cosmic anomalies and just dark repressed trauma.
Because what emerges from these logs is basically a masterclass in how complex systems behave under pressure.
Right.
Whether we are talking about the psychological defense mechanisms of a human mind, or the intricate hierarchy of a starship's engineering department, or, in one case, the literal gravitational forces of a planetary body.
Yeah. Our mission today is to look at what happens when these systems are pushed to their absolute limits, and how uncovering the hidden mechanics beneath the surface changes, well, how everything operates.
So true.
So let's jump right into the everyday pressures of leadership on the Arawyn. We start with the ship's acting chief engineer, Ryan Collingway.
Right. His logs open with something so aggressively normal for a starship.
It's so funny. He visits the chief medical officer, Dr. Amberlin, to get a hypospray. He wants a 4 to 6 month suppression of his cat allergy because he's been sneezing in the turbolifts.
Yeah, he's actively dodging a cat named Missy.
Missy, and another golden-eyed one named Sunny.
Right, Sunny. They hang out at the ship's Feline Care Community Center. And on paper, he is just trying to fix a minor physical annoyance so he can work without watery eyes.
Right, but Dr. Amberlin's medical notes, and those from her assistant, Dr. Dunross, they reveal the underlying mechanics of what's actually happening here.
Yeah, she observes he's lost weight, his heart rate is elevated.
The allergy is real, but the request for this heavy-duty, long-term medical suppression is really a physical manifestation of a psychological strategy. Ryan is basically trying to suppress his emotional reality.
Because his good friend Allura is leaving the ship.
Yeah, she's moving back to Risa with her family.
And instead of actually processing that loss, Ryan tells the doctor he just wants to bury himself in his work.
Yeah.
He is building these massive emotional walls.
She's totally shutting down.
Exactly. He is treating his emotions like a mechanical flaw in an engine that he can just, patch over or bypass.
Right.
But the human mind is a pressurized system. You can't just cap a vent and expect the pressure to completely disappear. It always finds another way out.
It really does. But to Ryan's credit, he does recognize he is struggling with his new leadership role. He is terrified of making a mistake because he's only in an acting assignment.
So he begins remote mentoring with the former Chief Engineer, Sandra Boren.
I found Commander Boren to be incredibly compelling.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She's currently on Starbase 369 on an extended medical leave, recovering from a severe injury, and she is actually evaluating an experimental medical implant that she designed herself.
Which is such a flex. Her family motto tells you everything you need to know about her mindset. Everything fits, otherwise we'll make it fit.
Right. So she's assigned him these 28 advanced leadership modules from a Professor Adam Jenkins at Starfleet Academy.
Yep.
But she decides to test him practically. She runs him through a holodeck simulation of a massive cyber attack on the ship.
A total nightmare scenario.
Systems are failing, EPS conduits are shutting down, and Ryan is running around like a madman trying to manually fix everything himself.
Let's break down why he fails that simulation so spectacularly.
Please do.
An EPS conduit, the electroplasma system, is essentially the circulatory system of a starship. It moves immense amounts of volatile energy. When those fail, the ship dies.
Right.
Ryan is reacting to the immediate alarms. He is trying to be the senior mechanic, solving every localized problem as it literally reaches him.
Just putting out fires.
Exactly. So Boren pauses the simulation and forces him to look at the frozen holograms of his engineering team, who are just standing around doing nothing.
She tells him the warp core isn't his greatest resource. The people standing around it are.
Yes. The shift she is demanding is from mechanic to conductor. A mechanic fixes the instrument, but a conductor leads the orchestra.
That is such a crucial difference.
If you think about your own career, or anytime you stepped into a management role, The instinct is always to rely on the hard skills that got you promoted.
Oh, absolutely.
Ryan is a brilliant engineer, but as chief engineer, his job is no longer to turn the wrench. His job is to allocate the human capital that turns the wrenches.
Right. And so he finally delegates the manual restart to his team, specifically in Ensign Yates, and they actually end up saving the simulated ship.
Which is exactly what Boren wanted to see.
It makes sense. Stepping into a leadership role like this is, it's like trying to fix a leaky faucet while the entire house is on fire. You want to just grab a wrench because it's what you know, but you actually need to coordinate the fire department.
That's a great way to put it.
But hold on, let's be real for a second here.
Okay.
If the ship is literally under attack and conduits are exploding and people are screaming, isn't forming a committee the absolute worst thing you can do? Like, sometimes you just have to grab the wrench.
Commander Boren actually addresses that exact tension.
She does.
Yeah, she clarifies that in a binary immediate threat scenario, like a localized coolant leak or a sudden hull breach, hesitation is fatal. Immediate action is definitely required.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, a cyber attack is a complex, cascading system failure. Boren's lesson is about calibrating your response to the reality of the specific threat. The true mark of a leader isn't blind speed. It's knowing when you have those extra 3 seconds to stop and think. To ask, what do I actually know? What am I assuming? It's the discipline to observe the entire system before you just blindly intervene.
And we actually see that exact discipline, that really critical observation of a complex system play out on a massive cosmic scale with the ship's command and science teams.
Oh, the planetary survey, yes.
Yeah, Captain Sabrina Corbin is dealing with her own version of a localized problem. She is incredibly bored.
Yep, she really is.
The Arawyn has surveyed 7 uncharted systems in a row, and they've all been completely lifeless, gray, or what she dismissively calls, quote, beige.
Survey work has a very grueling rhythm to it. It's a lot of waiting and just logging empty space.
Until they stumble upon something extraordinary, they find a massive gas giant, several times the mass of Jupiter, orbiting a brilliant white-blue star.
Right.
And it has these bizarre displaced auroras. Now, I know what an aurora looks like on Earth, the northern lights at the poles, but why would auroras be displaced and happening near the equator of a gas giant?
Well, so the chief science officer, Stephen Remington, and planetary scientist Lieutenant Smithers, they really have to unpack the physics of this.
Yeah.
Auroras are created when charged particles interact with a planet's magnetic field, and as you said, they usually get funneled to the poles.
Right.
But this gas giant has a massive magnetosphere that is being intensely compressed by the stellar winds like the radiation of particles coming off that really young, hot, white-blue star.
Oh, wow.
That solar pressure is physically warping the planet's magnetic field, squeezing all those charged particles toward the equator instead.
And it's not just the planet and the star, right? There are 4 moons caught in this magnetic blender.
Yes, 4 of them.
One moon has this disproportionately large metallic core, and another is actively drawing particles from the radiation belts.
Which essentially turns this entire planetary system into an intricate gravitational engine.
Right.
The science team realizes this chaos isn't actually random at all. Every 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 43 seconds, the orbital periods and the magnetic oscillations of the planet and these moons perfectly match frequency.
It's like a giant cosmic grandfather clock striking midnight, where all these massive planetary gears just perfectly align for exactly 11 seconds.
11 seconds, yeah.
But during those 11 seconds, the low-frequency radio emissions from the planet increase by nearly 600%.
It's a massive spike.
Mechanically, what is generating that? Like, where do those radio waves come from?
So when the magnetic fields of the gas giant and that highly metallic moon cross paths and align, they're essentially creating a massive induction loop.
Oh, okay.
It's like a temporary planetary-sized electrical circuit just suddenly closing. The accumulated kinetic and magnetic energy has literally nowhere else to go, so it just dumps into the radio spectrum. For 11 seconds, the entire system screams. Then, the orbital resonance collapses, the circuit breaks, and the whole 2-hour cycle of building pressure just starts all over again.
Now, imagine you are Captain Corbin or the science team. You've been staring at beige rocks for weeks.
Right.
You find this incredible cosmic engine. The human instinct is to just launch probes immediately. You want to poke it with a stick.
You want data.
Yeah. You want to bounce active scans off it to see what happens, but they decide to do absolutely nothing.
Remington advises, and Captain Corbin completely agrees, that they must hold off. They need to observe a full, natural cycle from beginning to end without introducing any artificial telemetry.
Because that might alter the electromagnetic environment.
Oh, exactly.
It requires incredible restraint. Just like Commander Boren told Ryan not to just grab a wrench in engineering, Captain Corbin knows she has to step back and watch the system complete its natural cycle before she intervenes.
And while the science team is waiting for the planetary system to complete its cycle and release its energy, Ryan Collingway's internal psychological system is do the exact same thing.
The pressure is finally catching up with him.
The pressure he has been suppressing is finally forcing the truth to the surface.
So Ryan ends up sitting down to play cards, euchre, and five-card draw with the ship's counselor, Nick Miller.
Right.
And Nick is sitting there terribly sculpting a clay dinosaur that he openly admits looks more like a manatee.
It's such a funny visual.
It really is. And they are placing wagers. Ryan wagers latinum, but Nick is wagering these hidden slips or favors he got from a fortune teller.
It's a brilliant, disarming environment created by the counselor.
Completely.
Nick wins a hand and just casually asks Ryan for his wildest academy story.
Yeah.
But before Ryan can put his walls up, Nick offers a small vulnerability of his own.
Right. He shares a trick his dad taught him.
Yeah, about locking all the doors before a ceremony so everyone was late.
Yeah.
It's a super low-stakes confession, but it acts as a pressure release valve.
And that tiny opening is all it takes. Ryan admits something huge. He's been having suppressed memory flashes from the year 1984.
Which were triggered by a recent away mission, right?
Exactly. He doesn't know what they mean, but the pressure is just becoming unbearable. So Ryan goes to the holodeck. Not for a leadership simulation this time, but to recreate a specific gnawing sound he keeps hearing in his nightmares.
The sound design here is so intense.
He has the computer cycle through underground noises, machinery, bat sounds, but nothing is right.
Until he isolates the sound of a pickaxe hitting rock, that high-pitched scraping of metal.
But why a pickaxe? In an era of starships and advanced technology, why is someone using a hand tool?
Because of the environment. Ryan adds a metal support beam to the holodeck, dims the lights, and asks the computer to generate an Orion guard. And the memory finally breaks through.
This part is so dark.
We are transported back to when Ryan was a 17-year-old kid. He is visiting a shady mining facility run by a company called New Frontiers, located on some unknown stormy planet.
Right.
And they are mining a substance called chemisite.
Which is very dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Chemisite is a highly regulated, intensely volatile isotope. If you use heavy, energy-based mining machinery around it, the vibrations or thermal output will cause a catastrophic explosion.
So you have to mine it by hand.
Exactly. You have to use hand tools.
Ryan's father, Stephen, is this wealthy, corrupt investor, and the facility director, this predatory man named Halsworth, is trying to impress young Ryan to secure more of his father's funding.
Right.
But there's an explosion on a conveyor belt. Ryan's bodyguard, Seth, tells Ryan to take the elevator to the surface while he investigates.
But the elevator malfunctions, or, more likely given the facility's safety standards, it simply fails.
Yeah.
Ryan is trapped, but he manages to hotwire it. However, it doesn't take him to the surface. It takes him all the way down to level 8.
This is where the polite surface of his father's business empire completely falls away, revealing the horrifying depths.
The real mechanics.
Ryan wanders out into this maze of dark tunnels and discovers a secret mining operation using slave labor. He finds an Andorian Starfleet lieutenant, emaciated, wearing a New Frontiers shock collar, just digging at the rock with his bare hands.
That's awful.
Ryan manages to access a console and realizes these workers are people who were presumed dead from raider attacks, but they are actually being secretly worked to death for his father's partners.
It is the ultimate systemic corruption.
So Ryan tries to use the console to contact a nearby Starfleet ship to expose the whole operation, but Director Halsworth catches him and jams the signal.
And then Seth shows up.
Seth, the bodyguard, arrives and tries to save Ryan, but Halsworth's Orion guard disintegrates Seth right in front of him.
Just brutal.
Halsworth realizes he can't kill Ryan without angering his really powerful father, so the guard stuns Ryan instead.
And Ryan wakes up a week later in his bed on his home planet, Sinin.
Yep.
His corrupt dad feeds him this polished lie about a shuttle accident and claims Seth just left for a better job.
But Ryan knows.
He realizes his entire life of luxury, his home, his privilege, it's all built on slavery and blood. So He escapes his guarded mansion
Yeah.
using tied-up bed sheets, runs out in the rain, and walks right into a Starfleet recruitment center.
Just enlists right there to become an engineer.
He takes the mechanical aptitude his father wanted to use for corporate exploitation and just dedicates it to Starfleet.
Wow.
But you could see the profound psychological weight of that event. The guilt of Seth's death, the terror of the Orion Guard, the helplessness of seeing that Andorian slave.
It's too much.
The human brain simply cannot process that level of trauma all at once, especially at 17. So the system protects itself. It suppresses the memory to allow Ryan to just function day to day.
Okay, let me challenge that for a second, though.
Sure.
If Ryan is currently the chief engineer of a starship, successfully saving the ship in holodeck simulations and managing a team, didn't burying that trauma actually work? Isn't it exactly like the volatile chemosite from the mine? If the memory is unstable and explosive, and you just bury it deep enough under layers of rock, it won't explode. It seems like a highly effective survival strategy.
It's a survival strategy, certainly, but it's not a sustainable one.
Why not?
Because the chemosite doesn't become inert just because you bury it. It remains volatile. It just becomes a hidden landmine.
Ah, I see.
Think back to Dr. Amberlin's notes at the very beginning. Ryan is losing weight. He is isolating himself from Allura. He's panicking during the cyber attack simulation.
The pressure is leaking out.
Exactly. Feelings and trauma don't just vanish because you bury them behind a heavy workload. They leak out and destabilize your current foundation.
Right.
By remembering the event, Ryan isn't detonating the Hind. He is finally mapping where it is so he can disarm it. He is realizing that his father's corrupt legacy doesn't have to define his own internal system.
That makes total sense. But just as Ryan solves the puzzle of his past, and the science team waits for their planetary puzzle to complete its cycle, reality violently interrupts.
It always does.
This brings us to the final logs, which show how a massive external bureaucracy can disrupt even the most careful internal planning. The Arawyn is scheduled to rendezvous with a resupply transport. Operations Officer Oliver Young notes the transport drops out of warp exactly 26 seconds early, jokingly calling them show-offs.
It's supposed to be a completely routine transfer.
Yeah.
Medical stores, replacement parts, and, some personnel rotation.
Right.
The manifest shows Allura is officially departing for Risa, and a new Chief Operations Officer, Commander Varys, who is Bajoran, is arriving to take over.
It's a totally standard changing the guard. But then Captain Corbin receives a priority message directly from the Starfleet Judge Advocate General, the JAG.
And the JAG order is absolute, and it is immediate.
Lieutenant Ryan Collingway is subpoenaed as a material witness in an active inquiry regarding a previous assignment. He is ordered to leave the Arawyn immediately on that exact same resupply transport.
Think about the whiplash of that moment for the crew.
Right. Imagine being Captain Corbin. She finally gets her acting chief engineer settled. He's processing his trauma. He's learning from Commander Boren to treat his department like an orchestra. And then Starfleet Command suddenly yanks her lead violinist off the stage without any warning.
And yet, notice how Captain Corbin handles the disruption.
She's so calm.
She doesn't panic. She processes one problem at a time, exactly like Boren taught Ryan to do during the cyber attack.
Yes.
She calls Ryan to her ready room, delivers the news directly, and advises him to pack quickly. Crucially, she tells him to stick to what he actually knows when he faces the JAG. Don't guess, don't assume.
Just stick to the facts.
Right. Then she immediately coordinates with the executive officer, Commander Battenberg, and Chief Security Officer, Commander Flamia, to manage the logistics of the personnel transfer.
She even arranges for Commander Boren to handle Ryan's active engineering work remotely from Starbase 369. Corbin just absorbs the chaos and keeps the system running.
She is acting as the ultimate conductor, and it perfectly synthesizes everything we've looked at today.
It really does.
Whether you are dealing with the immense, unseen magnetic fields of a gas giant compressing against a star's radiation, or the complex human dynamics of an engineering department under fire, or the dark, repressed secrets of a family's mining empire, you simply cannot ignore the underlying systems at play.
Because eventually, the cycle completes. The planetary resonance aligns, the repressed memory surfaces, the subpoena arrives. The truth beneath the surface always demands to be acknowledged. You can't just treat the symptoms with a hypospray. You really have to understand the mechanics of the pressure.
Well said.
Ryan joined Starfleet to run away from his father's corrupt legacy and bury his past, only to find himself yanked right back into a legal inquiry, forced to confront the very things he was outrunning.
It's incredibly ironic.
It leaves you with something to really think about as you navigate your own life. Can we ever truly outrun the systems and the histories that built us? Or are our pasts, just like that planetary resonance, bound to cycle back around, synchronize, and demand our attention whether we are ready for the impact or not?
That's the real question.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Arawyn logs. Keep questioning the information around you, and remember, the surface is just a polite fiction. The truth is always waiting in the depths.